New this morning, long gone are the days of the no-knit policy, which meant a student with head lice was sent home. Now, the policy was discontinued in North Dakota public schools more than a decade ago after the American Academy of Pediatrics changed its guidelines in 2010, and the North Dakota Department of Health and Human Services followed suit in 2012.
But many are still surprised to learn that a student can remain in school with head lice. So I'll explain and help to dispel some of the myths that surround that pesky bug.
Head lice don't cause any kind of disease. They really are just a nuisance.
A nuisance that generates unease and even panic in many students, parents, and even teachers. But as school nurse coordinator Kate Gartner explains, there's a reason the no-knit policy was sent to the wayside.
One thing with head lice is it's really hard to actually get. They can't fly, they can't jump, they can only crawl. And they don't live off of a host for very long. Their bodies actually start to die within 15 minutes of not having heat or food. And the food that they eat is human blood, and they like a nice warm spot.
Which is why head-to-head contact is the most common way head lice are spread. According to the North Dakota Department of Health and Human Services, while it's not impossible to spread head lice by sharing combs, hats, or blankets with others, it's not very common. Yeah. Gartner says another reason the no-knit policy is discouraged is due to the fact that a person could have head lice for weeks before it's even noticed.
You can check a kid's head today. They can go play with another kid and lay on a beanbag and read a book together and have head lice that night. So it's really not best practice anymore.
While head lice don't carry disease, they do carry stigma, a stigma that can result in a much larger problem than the bug itself.
The stigma attached to it is awful. Bullying occurs then. Even teachers try not to, but they're even a little standoffish with students when they know that this student has head lice.
For years, and even today, many assume head lice infestations only happen to those who are dirty and unkempt, which is the reason behind the stigma. But as Gartner explains, that's simply not the case.
Head lice like any kind of hair, clean, dirty, rich, poor, it doesn't matter. They just like a hot spot and hair to hold on to.
So if your child comes home with head lice,
don't panic. And it doesn't mean that you're unclean or that you aren't taking care of your child. It just means that they're delicious. and the head louse found a nice warm place.
Gartner also says it's not as in-depth of a process as many think to treat the infestation.
Treat the head, wash your linens, vacuum. That's really all you need to do. You can bag up stuffed animals that they maybe have slept with and either set them outside in our cold winters, and those head lice are not going to live.
So the best line of defense against head lice?
Regular checks on your own kid. If everybody was doing that, we wouldn't see hardly any at school.
Now, when checking a person's scalp for lice, a person may mistake dandruff for lice.
Yeah, so the difference when you grab dandruff, it comes right off, and when head lice attaches, Gartner, she says that you have to actually use your nail to kind of scrape it because they really do attach there. And I have more information on our website at kxnet.com. If you want to learn more about the policies and exclusion guidelines, that's at kxnet.com. And one other little interesting fact I learned is because Ayla, the kids went to camp this summer and they thought there might be a case of head lice. Checked them, they did not, but I panicked a little bit. Sure. And I'm sitting here and they did not have it, but I'm like, what about the dog? What about, I was thinking you have to like fumigate your whole house, but it really, like Kate said, it's a pretty simple process, and they don't attach to animals' fur, to dogs or anything, so you don't have to worry about that. And like she said, they don't live very long off of the host, so they start to die pretty quickly. I think they can live up to a day or two, but they're pretty weak by that time. And so don't share hats necessarily, but it's unlikely that if a kid does grab somebody else's hat, not too likely they're going to get it. It's a head-to-head contact, the selfies together.
Also, this is not the universal sign for flicking off head lice like you were just doing there. So
yeah.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, I'm not as panicked as I used to be.
That's very good. Good information.
Helps others too.
Absolutely.